Hello, welcome to Authentically You, where you're guided by light and you have all the power. Today, I want to talk about how being you is more than enough. And I'm just going to go with it. I have no notes, nothing. I've been writing the second part of what I wrote last time, and it's going into how being who you are is more than enough. And I want to expand on that more because I think it's important. Because I think that when I talk about the spiritual journey, some people might be maybe not resonate with the spiritual talk or the energy talk, or, it just might not resonate with them. And sometimes if it's someone that might have some religious trauma, it might actually push them away, right? But I'm here to tell you that even just shifting your mindset to a better version of the person that you want to become is more than enough to be on your own path. You don't even have to call it a spiritual journey, just your life path, if that's what you want to call it, or your soul path, if you want to talk about that, or if you don't resonate with souls or anything, just your path, your life path. It doesn't matter which one resonates with you more. What's important is that you find something that does resonate for you, that will help motivate you, will help get you to start doing the inner work. And all you have to do is just start. Just start by changing one habit, or even just by thinking, who is it that you want to become? Check in with yourself. Who do you want to be? What have you been holding yourself back from because you've been afraid? Because you've been afraid of what other people think, because you think you're not good at it, or because, let's say you have a passion for drawing, but you suck at drawing, or you feel like you suck at drawing, right? Because I don't feel like there's any sucky art. I think we all start somewhere. The same with writing. If you've always wanted to write, but you've never picked up a pen and done it, if the desire is there, it's because you're meant to do it. You don't have to be good at it. You just have to do it. Start showing up for yourself every day in one small way. Whatever small way you decide. It doesn't have to be the same thing every day. It could be something different every day. But something that shows that this is me showing up for myself because I want to become my best self. Even if you don't know who you want to become, you just know that you want to be a better version of yourself. Even if it's just as simple as that. Just start showing up for yourself better every day. Start opening yourself up to the possibility that it is possible, that you're not limited to what the outside world is showing you, that okay, the media can be used as a manipulation tactic to get you, to leave you stuck in this survival mode, in this, what are we gonna do? Why is this happening to me? When no, like, nothing is happening to you. You can decide that, no, this is gonna change. I'm gonna make I'm gonna decide what happens to me moving forward. I'm not gonna let the universe decide for me. Like, I'm gonna do it. This is what's gonna happen. Start doing the inner work. If you have been thinking about going to therapy, go to therapy. It's sad, but our parents, our grandparents, they had their own traumas too that they did not do the inner work for. They didn't go to therapy for. And unfortunately, that created us, and it made us anxious. It made us depressed. It made us these things because our parents and our grandparents have not been doing the inner work. So it is up to us to break those cycles, to clear the bloodlines, to decide that we are better than this, and take accountability for the things that we have done wrong, or even just letting go of the things that have happened to us. And I don't mean it in letting it go as in get over it or anything like that. Process those feelings if you've been avoiding it. If sometimes you need to feel it in your body and let it go, because there's some trapped energy there that needs to be released. It's part of the process of becoming your best self, because you want to clear anything that no longer serves you. So what's going to happen? Your awareness is going to start showing you relationships that maybe you thought were serving you but are really not serving you, or those that maybe you've already known you've had to let go but you've been avoiding it. It's going to become more and more clear until you finally let those people go. If some of you might feel like you want to move somewhere but you don't know where you live now is the only place you've known, but you know that you're meant to move somewhere. For those that you might be called to leave your job, or those who have been itching to leave their jobs but they don't know where you're meant to go. This is the universe. This is your intuition nudging you, telling you that you are meant for something bigger, that something bigger is calling you. So not necessarily telling you quit your job right now this instant, but more check in with that feeling so that you can start trusting yourself and you can get to the point where you feel comfortable enough to quit your job. That's what happened to me. Like when I started feeling that discomfort of like, I don't want to be at this job anymore. I know I'm meant for something more. I didn't quit right away. I didn't go, okay, that means I'm going to quit. Like, no, I wanted to be like, okay, how comfortable do I feel? Like, when do I feel comfortable enough to fully leap into the unknown? And I have no regrets, even though there was a bit of a struggle for a couple of months, but I still have no regrets whatsoever. I learned so much from that experience, building that trust in the universe. Like before I quit, had already built, a significant amount of trust within myself, and it's all through small leaps of faith that has been building my trust in myself. And this was one of the bigger leaps that I took, and it was all part of teaching me to have faith in the unknown. That's what this whole journey has been for me. Every single thing that has come up has been to be like, okay, you trust me? Okay, I'm going to throw more things your way to make sure that you're embodying that trust. And it's going to be uncomfortable, and it's going to, it's so uncomfortable. And there are certain moments where I cry because it's just that uncomfortable that I cry, and in the midst of crying, I declare my faith again and again, saying like, I know who I am. I'm not going to let whatever circumstances that show up stop me from believing and knowing my worth, and knowing that I am worthy of these things that I know are mine, that I've been shown are mine, right? And some moments are easier than others. I just went through one of the harder ones where, that happened again, where my circumstances showed something, and I'm just like, where I had to really fully depend on my trust alone, my inner knowing alone. And it was so uncomfortable for a moment. And I cried, I journaled, I declared in my journal, like, I know who I am. I wrote some good things, and I don't have my journal in here. It's in the other room. But it was one about, like, tears being a release. And, they're like a river leading you to your destination or something like that. It was something really poetic. I was like, oh, wow. And maybe I'll share it later, but things like that. And I felt empowered in that moment, because what these moments try to do, they don't try to destabilize you per se, But some people get destabilized in these moments because it's meant to see, okay, are you still embodying that you have this despite what it's showing you? And so, you know, you initially want to react or be like, and it's okay to react too. It's totally fine. It's fine to react, but then just declare, well, I already know how my life is going to play out. Like, I already know what path I'm going to take. So this is just another step to get me there. And it is, because once you process your feelings, once you cry it out or do what you need to do, literally, like, I feel like 10 times lighter and I feel more at peace. Like, I woke up the next day and I was like, oh, it felt like something like some fog had cleared almost. And I like describing it like our intuition almost like a radio signal. And when we first start on our path, it has so much static. So it's hard for us to trust ourselves and trust our inner voice. But as you do the inner work, as you face the shadows, as you break the cycles, you face your patterns and improve those patterns, become a better version of yourself, that distortion, that static clears up more and more. So you'll start trusting yourself more and more as you advance. And it'll get to the point where you're just like, you'll have no question. Like, you're like, we've been like, like this one that I just went through. It was almost like the universe said, bet, like, okay, you really trust, bet, here's some more things to throw your way. And I experienced it. This part that I'm about to talk about, I experienced it during a plant medicine journey. And there was a lot of things coming through that I didn't understand. And they might seem maybe a little scary sometimes, but I just kept hearing from this verse from the Bible, lean not on your own understanding. So it was like I just needed to allow that energy to move through me and then just continue just trusting. And so that's what I was doing. I was just trusting. And it was so like it almost made me think of, they talk about in the Bible, they talk about Jesus in the desert being tempted by the devil. And I don't believe that the devil exists. I feel that the devil is a symbol for like your ego, that the voice in your head that tells you you can't do this, that tells you you're worthless, that that negative voice in your head. That's the devil to me. And now I'm thinking, like, I wonder if this is something that like similar that Jesus experienced, because Jesus had expanded his awareness, and I'm sure he went through similar situations like this where he had these like inner battles within himself to embody that trust within himself. And I wonder if that's what the story is about him in the desert, because it felt like that a lot, where like it's just moving through the energy, not interacting with it. It's like there are energies that try to, almost like thoughts or situations that come up that try to hook you back into being afraid or being scared of what it is or what's coming up. But instead of letting myself do that, I just moved through it. There was like music playing, so I was just like, I just kept grounding myself in, I know who I am. I trust myself. I know who I am. The things I was experiencing, I was doing a lot of energy healing as well for like other versions of me that that didn't get the other parts of me, other versions of me that maybe didn't feel worthy, I was like healing all that stuff. I was healing a lot of root chakra stuff still. So a lot of that stuff came up, but it was like just moving through it without just processing it, feeling it, but not engaging with it in a way that pulled me back into my old self. Um, it was really interesting. But after all of that, it just, again, it just felt like I just felt so much lighter. And with energy, it's you're making room for the new. You're making room. So you're getting rid of the old. So that means not just relationships, but old habits, things that, you know, that that maybe habits that we've been meaning to let go of, or been meaning to stop, or maybe we don't mean to stop. Maybe we don't realize that what things that we are doing are necessarily like not serving our highest good. And that's the purpose of this journey, of this. You're getting to know yourself, you're getting rid of all these layers of projections that other people have been basically throwing at you, and you've been accepting them as you, as who you are, as your identity. But as you go along this journey, you'll realize, as you're shedding these parts of the old you, that okay, that wasn't who I really was. I just believed that's who I was because that's what, maybe my parents led me to believe, or these people led me to believe, or whatever. And unfortunately, our family was a big influence in our limited thinking and our limited beliefs. At least for me, it was growing up in the religious household that kept me very limited for a long time. And part of this awakening for me has been realizing that no, I'm not limited. I am actually capable of a lot more things than I thought I could do. And as I've been working on myself, I've been setting those boundaries with my family, with friends, and it has changed some relationships, unfortunately, but it's all part of the process. It's part of this moment, because this moment that I like to call it the in between, from the moment you decide, okay, I want to become a better version of myself, to the moment that you do become that, like you are fully that person embodied, right? Because when you decide, yes, you technically are already that person internally, but then now you're just arranging the 3D for yourself to match your inner state. And so that's why the cycles will come up that you'll need to break, the patterns will come up that you'll need to let go of, things like that, because that's part of the 3D of your reality, your environment rearranging itself to match that person that you decided you have become internally. And part of that is also continuing on your mental diet, because, we're so used to talking negatively to ourselves because of the system that has conditioned us to be on survival mode and feel like we're not worthy of what we want. So, yes, part of that will include that inner battle within your mind with your ego, that your ego is going to keep trying to tell you, no, because to your ego, your old self is safe because it's familiar and it knows what to expect. It already knows to expect negative things, to expect getting hurt, to expect not being seen, not being chosen. So when you're choosing a better version of yourself, your ego kind of freaks out a little bit because, again, they're not used to that. So you just have to be gentle with yourself in those moments when your ego comes up. Don't get mad at your ego for doing that. They're just trying to keep you safe. But that's where you just talk to it. Some like to talk to it like their inner child, right? Because that's their inner child that never felt safe from, the way they were brought up. For whatever reason, they felt they didn't feel worthy to be loved or whatever. So I treat it gently. I say, it's okay to be afraid, but I trust that this is going to work out for me. Or, just say, like, it's okay. We deserve to be happy. We deserve, and we know, like, we were used to being hurt before, but now we're worthy of it. And we deserve good things. It's safe for us to get good things. And that's part of your nervous system too, because your nervous system is also freaking out. Because again, it's used to the other stuff. That's what it felt. More familiar to them, and so it's gonna might freak out a little bit every once in a while, but that's when you could use those tools like meditation, breath work, EFT tapping, things like that, to make you feel, let your body know that you're safe, that this is okay, this new change is okay, that it's just a step into becoming the better version of yourself. Yeah. Like I said, you don't have to do rituals. You don't, some people are meant to connect to their soul on a deeper level. And if that's something that you want to do, please do it. I'm sure your guides and your higher self has a lot to show you about where your soul has come from, what your soul is meant to do here while you're here. If that's not your thing, that's more than okay too. If you just wanna, I'm just gonna do the inner work and go to therapy and break my patterns and just become a better version of myself. That's also more than enough, and that's totally okay. So don't feel pressured to get into spiritual things or into like that kind of stuff. It's only if your soul resonates with it. But if it doesn't, there's nothing wrong with that either. It doesn't make you a bad person or anything like that. I think we've seen, honestly, I feel like I've seen like atheists are sometimes even kinder than people who claim to be religious, right? And that just to show that your belief in the spiritual doesn't necessarily mean that you're a good person. It's your authenticity. It's who, your heart. It's that's what truly, that's what truly makes you divine, is your authenticity, because that's your part. That's your part, the soul, your soul. That's a piece that comes from source that we all have within us, that we're meant to awaken and become that version of us. And in whatever way that your soul resonates, that's the way it's meant to be. So I'm going to leave it at that for today. I hope everyone has a good new moon and good winter solstice. Don't forget to set your intentions for the year, for the next year, if that's something that you feel called to do. But also, if you don't feel called to do it, that's okay too. Exciting things are in store for us next year. I can already feel it. I feel the energy ramping up, and the more that we clear, the more room we're making for all this stuff that's going to be coming through. All right. Remember that you're doing the best that you can with what you have, and that's more than enough. I love you. Have a Merry Christmas. Bye.